everyone, welcome to a motovlog on my channel. My name is Marshall3498, and on today's motovlog it's going to be about tires. I recently had my 2023 KTM 890 Adventure base model service, and I had them put on the brand new set of the new tire, the Dunlop Trailmax Raid tires, or Trail, yeah, I think they're, yeah, sorry, name's weird, but they're the Dunlop Trailmax Raid tires, not the regular Trailmax Missions. And these are labeled as supposed to be a 40% on-road tire, 60% off-road. It's supposed to be a soft compound and loaded with silica for riding in the rain. And several people, by the way, the front on this bike is a 90-90-21, and on the rear is a 150-70-18 diameter. So, you know, I've put right at 100 miles on these tires so far, and I know that's not a huge review, but it's enough for me to tell you what I think about the tire. So we're gonna ride down this little back road, and I will tell you what I think about them so far. I have noticed that, especially the times I can tell I'm on a more off-road based tire than the stock Pirelli STRs. It's like right here, the last 5 miles an hour or the last 10 miles an hour when you go to stop, the bike, you feel that those knobs of that tire like and they stop. You know, that rolling resistance of that bigger knobbier tire slowing down, essentially. But what I have noticed so far, riding it back from the dealer, that you know, was a little over 100 miles that day on varying conditions, roads like this, 2-lane, not only 2-lane back roads, 2-lane highways, and 4-lane highways at speeds from stopped to like 65. So what I've noticed about the tire is it really is like, you know, this is my first really putting aggressive on an adventure bike. You know, I'm still new to this adventure bike thing, so I considered the Motos Tractionator tire for the rear and the Motos Tractionator dual venture for the front. That's what I considered. But I took a gamble and I went with this. You know, the Trailmax Missions have been really popular tire. They're labeled as a 60% on-road, 40% off-road. So, you know, the percentages on this tire versus that Trailmax Mission are reversed. So this is supposed to be a more off-road based tire. A lot of people get really long mileage out of the less aggressive tire of this, which is a Trailmax Mission tire. I've heard reports that people getting like 10-12,000 miles out of them, and that they still do decent enough off-road. But I feel, with me being still new to the whole adventure bike scene, that for me it would help me off-road to have more grip than the less aggressive of the two. And you know, I figured that yes, it's going to make the bike worse on road. I realize that. That's already apparent to me somewhat. But the tires are really predictable and stable. Like, to be leaned over like that, you can't feel the knobs, like to each knob that some of the more knobbier tires hit. When you feel like nothing, you feel the next knob, and where the bike likes to lean over in like steps. This tire doesn't do that at all, really. The only thing that I've noticed is it speeds under 40, very slight bar improvements. The steering is, I wouldn't say less stable, but is more sensitive to bar input. Like the stock Pirelli STRs, you could really put some bar input into them and it wouldn't affect them as much. These, it's less bar input to make the bike lean side to side, or even, like, you know, change position in a lane on a fairly straight road. And you feel, that's what I feel the most about it, that and the slowing down, stopping. And of course the caveat to that is yes, these tires are, at least the front that I can hear with no music on or turned down low, and not my cardo turned up with this helmet What I can definitely tell is the front at speeds above 40 makes some noise. It's you can hear it. It's not like obnoxiously loud, but it does make some noise. The rear, if I kind of like lean my head back towards the back of the bike and really listen for it, I can hear the rear even at lower speeds like this at 40 miles an hour. But above the exhaust note of the bike, I can't hear the rear, if I'm being honest. The front, I have to really pay attention to it to notice it either. So it's not a deal breaker, but I have noticed, you know, like that speeds above 50, you feel that knob a little bit, you know, as it rolls, that, you know, kind of chunk a little bit, and like the foot pegs. The bike's not unstable even at those speeds, but you can tell that you're on a knobbier tire. So, you know, to some people that matters. Some people like that feeling, some don't. I'm just trying to get used to it because, you know, it's totally different than the Pirelli STRs. They, to me, still felt like a regular street tire. These, although, do not feel like a normal street tire. But some people don't mind that because they're willing to sacrifice the better off-road performance and when it really kind of matters. Because the one time that I've had this bike off-road with the stock Pirelli STRs, the trail went from gravel to a little bit of dirt to a little bit of gravel and then all dirt. And the worst it got, there was a couple times where the Pirellis kind of tried to slide out, but one time the rear just slid out big time. And I was just lucky that I didn't really freak out. It happened so fast that I really had not much time to react. So I didn't drop the bike that day, but I come very close to. So maybe that'll stop some of that for me, where the bike will just be stable off-road. And maybe as the tires wear in, some of that on-road negatives, I guess, for lack of a better term, maybe I'll not only get used to that, but maybe it'll also get a little bit better as the tire wears in, and that won't be as noticeable, where it's not as knobby, you know, as sharp edges, and it kind of gets more squared off. Maybe that will help some. We'll see. That's left to be determined. But, you know, a lot of people have praised these tires. You know, I watched several videos on it, of course, on YouTube about the tires before, you know, I decided to purchase them. And, you know, we'll just have to see. You know, I may put 1,000 miles on the tires, and by then I may be tired of some of the negatives and try, you know, the Motoz Tractionator. I don't know, but I'm willing to try it. You know, some people, it takes them 3 or 4 sets of tires before they finally find what really works for their riding style and what they use the bike for. And, you know, money doesn't grow on trees, which kind of sucks, but you know, that's just part of trying something different. You take that risk. So it is what it is. I'm okay with it. If I end up, like I said, having to swap to a different tire, then so what. But I may get used to these and it may be okay. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. So but, you know, braking performance is still fine. You know, the tires on stuff like this actually at, you know, speeds like under 35 miles an hour, leaning back and forth and stuff like that on a little back road, you can't even tell. I do notice at certain speeds, especially like right here, like 40, when you start slowing down, you can feel that a little bit. Like if you slow down gradually, kind of that tire's, you know, the lugs of it trying to slow down. But on throttle, you know, and, you know, speeding up, you don't notice at all. It's fine. But if you've not already done so, please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. I'll let you know what I think about the tires so far. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or if you just want to talk about the tires, I'd be more than happy to help you out or talk to you in the comments. So on that, guys, ride safe and have fun. We'll see you on the next one. See ya.